Hey, it's Shelley, and welcome back to the She is Courageous podcast. Okay, how often do you have a really great idea and then not see it through? Or ask someone for advice, they give you advice, but you don't do anything with the incredible advice they give you? Basically, how often do you start to think about, maybe even start to work on goals, only to pull back, not make progress, get all in your own head and essentially not achieve? Or worse yet, how often do you not even start, not even take the first step? This week's episode is a reminder. It's not a goal setting episode, just for clarity. I can drop a link in the show notes on that one because I've done a session on that. This one is a short, sharp, perhaps kick up the backside, because it is time to make it happen, whatever it is. And I'm going to share with you today 3 things you need to stop doing to get started. So if I do workshops and things, I always use quotes, and I don't actually use them very often here on the podcast, but I am going to give you a quote right now. And I'm simply going to tell you that it is never too late to be what you might have been. You can make whatever you want of that, but my point today is get started. I get it, right? Getting started is tough. Getting started on something you actually really want, well, that is a whole other ballgame. So whether it is your exercise routine, whether it is starting your business actually, or you're in business and it's really getting visible on social media, whether it's writing a book, traveling more, improving relationships or a specific relation, or working on you, which might be why you're here. Big or small, whatever the thing is, getting started is not only the key, it's absolutely bloody critical. But we make getting started so much harder than it needs to be by standing in our own way. So today I am really simply, I'm going to take you through 3 things that you need to stop doing to step out of your own way and make it so much easier to get started instead of just thinking about it or dreaming about it. Okay, so 3 things you need to stop doing to get started. Let's get going with number 1. The first thing you need to stop doing to get started is stop making the thing that you want to start doing so huge in your mind. The more you think about it and don't do anything, the more you think about whatever it is you want to get started on, the bigger it becomes in your mind. And the more you think about it without doing anything, the more you think about the various ways it could become harder, scarier, more nerve-wracking, more of a risk, basically. The more you think, the bigger it gets, the scarier it gets, the more likely you are to convince yourself you can't. Because remember, what we focus on grows, okay? So the more you just get into thinking about, and don't get me wrong, I know that some of those thoughts will be around, you might be listening to this going, yeah, but I'm thinking about what I need to do. Yeah, but the more you think about what you need to do, the more likely you are to think about, what if I can't? And what if it goes wrong? And how will I do that? Thinking doesn't make anything happen. In fact, it's the surefire route to doing nothing. So stop making it such a big deal in your mind. Stop overthinking it is essentially what I'm saying in order to start. And here's what you can do instead. If you are thinking, because you need to work out how to get there, what to do, go find others who've been where you want to go. So rather than spiraling into what could happen if you get started and filling all the gaps with made up stories, go find out the truth. Talk to people who've done what you want to do. Get information from people who've already gone where you want to go. Get their insight. Learn from their experience. Learn from their mistakes. Ask them, yes, I'm not saying ask for advice. Ask them what you need to know to step forward. It is easier than ever to find those people today. You can look them up online. You can read from what they've written. You can send them a DM or an email. Or you can go and ask someone you know in real life that has done what you want to do. Because everything that you want, everything that you dream of doing, somebody has already done. And if they haven't, then reach out to me and tell me about it, because I want to hear what it is that you believe no one has ever done. And man, I'd like to help you. So that's the first thing, okay? Stop making it so big in your mind, stop overthinking it and not doing anything with it, and go find the knowledge from someone that's been where you want to be, okay? The other way around this overthinking and actually just pulling the brakes in on that is to actually just ask yourself this really simple question. And this is a question that I will use time and again in so many facets of my coaching. And that is, what is the worst that could happen? When we're overthinking, we're generally running down the road of, oh my God, catastrophe, disaster, failure. What is realistically the worst that could happen if you do this thing, if you take a step forward? Just take a couple of deep breaths to calm your mind down, and ask yourself that question. What realistically is the worst that could happen? Because in most cases, realistically, and that's an important word in this sentence, realistically what could happen is actually not that bad. It might sting for a little bit, it might feel a little uncomfortable, but it's very, very probably something you could handle or already have. The clarity you can get from that question, in my experience, reduces fear so much. So, what's the worst that could actually happen? Go seek knowledge, go find the person that's done the thing you want to do, that's already a few steps ahead of you, learn from people. But actually, what's the worst that can happen? So that's the first thing, okay? Stop thinking about it, stop making up these stories in your mind, because that's what happens when we overthink, and find out the actual answers. Second thing that we need to stop doing in order to start going on our goals is we need to stop trying to control everything. Now, there is absolutely strength and merit in being prepared, in knowing some things that might help, in a little bit of research, a little bit of understanding. That's why I'm saying go seek those that have already done it. Ask what's the worst that could happen. Being prepared and knowing that some things will absolutely help. But it can also become a trap when you try to control everything or think things through 50 times to be on the safe side, to not risk any mistakes, to seemingly avoid any form of failure, to ensure you won't look like a fool. Stop trying to control everything, because you can't. You cannot control everything. You can't control a lot. The only thing you can control is you. So here's what you need to do instead. You just need to be okay with the fact that you are very likely to stumble and fall. And that's okay. It happens to anyone who steps outside of their comfort zone. Those people that I said to go find the people that have done the thing that you want to do. Okay, those people you're looking at in admiration and awe because you think that they are living this life that you want and how they did it without any issue. They didn't, okay? They have stumbled, they have fallen, they have gotten back up. They have let go of trying to control everything. If you instead reflect on what you can learn from the mistakes, then that will be absolutely invaluable to help you grow and improve and help you realise I can't control everything, and that's okay. Now, something that can be really helpful in this feeling of I need to be in control of everything, I need to have every single duck in a row, because again, you will not, is actually to set time limits on small decisions. So if you have real problems with overthinking, which is fundamentally what all this is, then actually set a time limit for making decisions. And as weird as this might sound, or as scary as it might sound, if you start small and set yourself a 30 to 60 second time limit to decide if you are going to do the next thing, it will force you, if you're disciplined, it will force you to do the thing. And then you start with really small decisions, but then you can use this tactic for smaller decisions, for bigger decisions, and then bigger ones after that. Because ultimately, in the effort to control everything, we stop making decisions because we realise we can't control everything. So what we do instead is we don't go anywhere. So the second thing we have to stop doing in order to start moving forward is stop trying to control everything and just go with it. Let yourself see what comes and that it will be okay. The third thing that we have to stop in order to start, the third thing we have to stop doing in order to start is stop thinking that you have to get started in some really big, spectacular way. If you have a big goal, a big dream, And whatever big means, I mean, big for one person could be huge for someone else or small for someone else. It doesn't really matter. If it feels big for you, it's very often the case that people then think that they have to take some massive action to get started. And that's terrifying. And actually not true. So I talk about this all the time. Small steps add up. So stop thinking that you have to get started with some big bang, that you have to take some massive step towards your big goal. Just take one small step. Start really, really small. Ask yourself today, what one small step could I take today to get the ball rolling with my goal, with my dream? And just take that small action. Just take that one tiny step. If it feels too big, it is too big. So make it smaller. And then tomorrow, do the same thing again. Ask yourself the same question. What one small step could I take today? What one small step could I take again? If you feel it's too big, it is too big. If you find yourself procrastinating, go smaller. What's one tiny step you can take to get the ball rolling? Just single task each little step. Focus on just the one step you are taking, nothing else. It's really easy to get lost in thoughts. It's really easy to go off track, to feel uncomfortable or fearful. But actually, if you can keep your attention on just this one action, this one step forward, and after that, the next one, and then let those small steps build up, because day after day, they become something bigger. And before you know it, you've gone a heck of a distance on the journey in just tiny steps. So there you have it. Really short and sweet this week. 3 things that you need to stop doing to get started. Stop making it such a big deal. Stop making it such a big thing in your mind and overthinking it. Instead, find the people that have been where you want to go and learn from them. And ask yourself, realistically, what's the worst that could happen if you get started? 2, stop trying to control everything. Instead, realise you cannot control everything. You will stumble, and that's okay. And 3, stop thinking you have to take a really big step on a big goal. Take one small step at a time. If you get started, you're already in movement, and movement is the best way to show yourself what you are capable of. It's also the best way to build courage and therefore confidence and achieve your goals. So, which one of these things do you need to stop doing today so that you can get started?